Ever get like a weird feeling in a room? Like something went down there, but you can't really say what.
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe you got like a family heirloom, and it just feels heavy with like history,
Mm.
more than just what it's made of.
Yeah.
That's what we're diving into today, this idea of hauntology.
Okay.
And we're using this book by Sadeq Rahimi.
Right.
It's called The Hauntology of Everyday Life.
Uh-huh.
Sounds spooky, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
But it's really about how the past is like always hanging around,
It's true.
even in our normal, day-to-day stuff.
It is. And the book is really good at explaining it.
Yeah.
Even if you don't know all the fancy psych stuff.
Yeah.
Or philosophy. It's for everyone.
Nice. So, okay, what is hauntology? I mean, it does sound kind of ghost story-ish.
It does, but it's not really about, like, actual ghosts.
Okay.
More like how the past, sticks around.
Yeah.
And kind of messes with us in ways we don't even realize. Think of it like this. Hauntology says the past isn't really over.
Okay.
It's still here, shaping things. Now, even the future.
So, like, echoes.
Yeah, like when a sound stops, but you still hear it, kind of.
Yeah.
But instead of sounds, it's the past echoing into our lives.
I get it.
Yeah.
And these, like, echoes, they can be all over the place, huh?
Oh, totally. Personal memories, traditions, the way we think, how we feel.
Wow. Rahimi uses some good examples in the book, right?
Oh, yeah, lots of them. But there's this one about Ahmet.
Oh, man.
This young guy. He gets obsessed with finding this thing, an M in it.
Is that?
Like something passed down in his family, really important.
Okay.
He thinks if he finds it, his life will, be okay again.
Ah.
But looking for this thing, it takes over everything.
Like the object's not just an object.
Exactly. Rahimi says it's deeper. Like Ahmet wants to be whole.
To belong.
Yeah, exactly. Shows how when we want something bad
Yeah.
and we don't get it, it can become like a ghost haunting us.
But it's not just us wanting stuff, right?
No. Rahimi says groups can have this too.
Groups.
Yeah, like whole societies, historical events, injustices.
Oh, wow.
Even political stuff. They leave behind these unfinished things.
Unfinished.
That haunt us, even if it didn't happen to us directly.
That's wild. Like, the past has this energy.
You could say that. And we can tap into it even generations later.
Wow. Like, we're not even aware of it sometimes.
Right, but if we pay attention, we can see the patterns in us, in the world.
This is making me think of that film, The Stone Tape,
Oh, yeah.
about the scientists in the haunted house.
Uh-huh.
And the scary stuff they see is actually recordings
Yeah.
of, like, bad things that happened there before.
Exactly. Classic hauntology in pop culture. Makes you think, huh.
It does. The past isn't just in our heads.
Right.
It can literally be all around us,
Yeah.
messing with how we see things.
And we don't even know it.
So with all this, how's it about everyday life? Not just theories.
Yeah, good point. Well, Rahimi's saying it's not some, abstract thing.
Right.
It's about understanding what we go through ourselves.
Okay.
Like, have you ever felt a super strong emotion in a place and wondered if it was, connected to something that went down there before?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I've been in rooms where it's like this sadness, like something bad happened there, but I don't know what. Eerie.
It is. Like the walls could talk.
Yeah, really. And that's where this hauntology gets interesting. It's
Right.
those times we feel connected to something or someone.
Yeah.
Or even just a feeling we can't shake. It's like maybe there's more to it than we think.
Maybe a lot more. And these feelings we're talking about, these connections to the past, they're not just random. Rahimi uses this term, hauntogenisis.
Hauntogenisis.
Yeah, it sounds kind of complicated, but it's really just saying, like, how the past keeps making new hauntings right now.
Oh, okay. So, like, one thing leads to another and it keeps going. Like a chain reaction.
Exactly. Every time, like, a trauma isn't dealt with or a voice is silenced, or like a desire, like we were talking about, isn't fulfilled, it creates this ripple effect. And it can last for generations. It's almost like these unresolved things get, like, woven into our culture, our language, even, like, our subconscious.
It's like those stories you hear about families and curses
Right.
or blessings. But instead of, like, magic, it's these emotions and experiences that haven't been resolved,
Yeah.
getting passed down.
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it. And that's what makes this book so fascinating. Rahimi's not saying ontology is something to be scared of. He's saying it's a way to understand how these, like, unseen forces are shaping our reality. He even says it can be creative and help us make a more just world.
Okay, now I'm really curious. How can something that sounds so, haunting be good? Like, for making things better?
Well, one thing is it makes us think about justice differently. Like, if the past isn't really over, then finding a final solution to injustices is almost impossible. It's more about how those past wrongs are still messing things up now and finding ways to, like, deal with those effects.
So instead of just being about punishment, it's about like admitting the harm and trying to heal from it.
Exactly. Rahimi brings up Amit again, the guy looking for the eminent. He says that on a deeper level, Amit's looking for justice itself, something that we can't ever really fully get back, but we keep looking for it anyway.
That makes a lot of sense. So it's recognizing that justice is like a process, like it's always happening. And making a just world means dealing with these hauntings and figuring out how to move forward, acknowledging the past without being, stuck in it.
Exactly. It's about creating a world where these hauntings don't hurt us in the same way,
Right.
where we can learn from the past and use that to make things better.
Now, you were saying that Rahimi sees hauntology as like creative too. Can you tell me more about that?
We'll think about artists, writers, musicians. They get a lot of inspiration from the past, right? Reimagining old stories, sampling old sounds, finding new ways to express what came before. They're kind of channeling those hauntings and making them into something new and beautiful.
I like that. Taking those pieces of the past and making them relevant to now. Like some musicians sample old blues recordings, right? Or like how some fashion designers use vintage stuff to make modern clothes. It's about finding new ways to connect with the past.
And it's not just art. Think about social movements. They often get their power from the past, using the stories and experiences of people who fought before them. Even in technology, new inventions often build on older ideas. It's all connected.
So hauntology is everywhere. It's the music we listen to, the clothes we wear, how we think about things, even the technology we use. It's like we're always interacting with these echoes of the past
Yeah.
without even realizing it.
Yeah, and that's part of what Rahimi's trying to do, make us more aware of these unseen forces that are shaping our reality.
And once we are aware, what then? What can we do with that? Like to make things better for ourselves, for the world?
That's a great question. And it gets to the heart of what Rahimi is trying to say. Remember, hauntology isn't about getting stuck in the past. It's about understanding how it's still affecting us right now.
So we shouldn't try to erase the past or just ignore those echoes. We should listen to them, learn from them, and find ways to use what we learn in our lives now.
Exactly. And that's where it gets really interesting. Rahimi takes this even further. He talks about the digital world and this idea of networked subjectivity.
Network subjectivity. Okay, now I'm really interested. What is that?
Well, think about how much who we are is shaped by the internet,
Yeah.
social media, algorithms, all that stuff. Rahimi's saying that who we are isn't just about our own experiences anymore. It's also about all these digital networks we're part of.
So it's like we're all becoming this big connected web of information and like influencing each other, almost like a big group mind, but with technology.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. And Rahimi says this shift is changing hauntology in a big way.
How so? Does this mean the internet is haunted too? I mean, I've definitely spent enough time on social media to feel like I've run into some, ghosts in the machine.
Haha, that's a perfect way to think about it. Rahimi says that in the past, hauntings were mostly about real places, like haunted houses, battlefields, those kinds of places. But now, with the internet, we're seeing new places, virtual places, that can be haunted too.
So online communities, social media, virtual reality, all these digital places that can become like storage for our collective memories
Right.
and traumas
Yeah.
and desires.
Exactly. And because these virtual spaces are so connected, these hauntings can spread really fast, like way faster than before. And they can affect way more people. It's like we're making this whole new world of spectral possibilities where the lines between the real world and the virtual world are getting blurry.
Whoa, that's mind-blowing. It makes you wonder if our digital spaces can be haunted. Can we do anything about it? Like, are there digital rituals or something we can do to deal with these new kinds of hauntings? Can we use technology to heal from, collective traumas or work towards a better future?
Those are some great questions. And Rahimi definitely wants us to think about that. How can we use the power of these networks for good to help people heal, promote justice and understanding instead of making things worse?
A lot to think about, but it's also exciting. It opens up so many possibilities, when we start looking at things this way.
It really does. And that's what's so cool about Rahimi's work. He's not just giving us a theory. He's inviting us to think about the world differently. He wants us to look beyond the surface and to see these connections and forces that are shaping everything, even if we don't see them.
It's like he's giving us a new way to see the world,
Yeah.
a way to see all those echoes and whispers from the past that are always there, but maybe we didn't notice before. Okay, so we've been talking about this hauntology thing, how the past sticks around,
Uh-huh.
But it's not just about creepy vibes, right? Or dwelling on what's already happened.
No, not at all. It's about finding new ways to, deal with the past
Right.
and seeing how it can actually shape what's happening now and even the future.
I think for me, one of the big things I've learned is how this hauntology idea can actually be good,
Yeah.
especially for social justice.
Totally.
Yeah.
Rahimi wants us to think differently about justice, not just the old way, where it's all about punishment.
Yeah.
He's saying, let's look at how we can fix the problems caused by past injustices.
Right, like healing the damage.
Exactly. Admitting the harm that was done,
Yeah.
but then finding ways to move on.
Honoring the past, but not letting it, trap us.
Yeah, and it's not just about these big historical things. It's also about us. Maybe we're doing the same harmful stuff without realizing it.
In our own lives.
Yeah, with our friends, family, in our communities.
So we got to become more aware of those, echoes from the past.
Exactly. Those forces that are there, but we don't see them.
And then make a choice to stop those bad patterns.
Yes. And that's where hauntology can really help us grow.
Bro, how?
As people and as a society. It asks us, what are our hauntings?
Oh, that's deep.
What are those issues we haven't dealt with? The voices that have been silenced, the stuff we want but haven't gotten, all those things that shape who we are.
So once we figure that out, then what? How do we fix it?
That's the tough part. Rahimi doesn't give us a step-by-step, but he says acknowledging those hauntings is huge.
Makes sense.
It's seeing how they're messing with us and then finding ways to, work with them, make them into something good.
Not trying to get rid of the ghosts, but learning to live with them.
Yeah. Maybe even learn from them.
And that's where creativity comes in, right?
Absolutely. Remember, hauntology can give us ideas. New ways to express those echoes of the past. Turn them into something beautiful.
Like those musicians and the old blues samples.
Mm-hmm.
Or the fashion designers with the vintage stuff.
Exactly. It's all about making those connections and turning them into something that means something now.
Not just art, though, right?
Right. We can use it to fight injustice, to heal from trauma, to build a better world, taking those echoes from the past and using them to make real change.
Wow, this has been amazing. I feel like I'm seeing things in a whole new way now. How the past shapes us and how we can use that to make a better future.
I know, me too. Rahimi's book really makes you think.
It shows you that hauntology isn't just some theory. It's about our lives, every day.
It is. It's about those little whispers from the past.
The echoes that are always there, but we might miss them.
And then using that knowledge to make good choices.
Breaking those bad cycles, making the world better, more caring, full of potential.
And I think Rahimi would say this hauntology idea can help us understand justice better. What does it mean for dealing with trauma, inequality, even our own personal struggles?
That's something for all of us to think about, for sure.
It is.
Well, this has been a great deep dive. If you're into these ideas, you should definitely check out Sadeq Rahimi's book.
Yeah, the hauntology of everyday life.
It's really fascinating, and it makes you think about things long after you finish it.
It does.
You might even see the world differently, your own life, too.
Thanks for listening.